What's up, guys? So I got asked a question from a kid saying that they have a big fight coming up and they're fighting a wrestler, and they wanted to know a good game plan for a wrestler, and they're saying they have about 2 months before the fight comes up, right? Well, my suggestion would be now. Here's the issue. You can't only do so much in a 2 month time period, right? I would say to fight someone that's a better wrestler than you, you have to focus on cage work. Most takedowns. Now, keep in mind, this is a lower level amateur fight. This isn't world class UFC fight, right? The kid was an amateur fighter that was asking the question, but most wrestling doesn't come in the open mat. Most wrestling comes off of the cage, especially unless you're fighting some high-level college wrestler that can just blast W from the middle of the ring. Most of the wrestling comes from the cage. So I would say focus a lot on your defense from the cage. Focus a lot on basics. This is America, so a lot of the basic takedowns are singles and doubles. A lot of wrestlers do double legs and singles. Those are like the bread and butter of American wrestling, unless someone has like a Greco-Roman or a judo background or something, and they were saying their opponent didn't, right? So if you're fighting just a basic high school, good high school, but he was a good high school wrestler is what he said his opponent was, but a basic good high school wrestler for an amateur fight, I would say focus on your cage work. You need to focus on defending the double, learning how to get overhook, get use cross faces, learn how to defend a single, and in a basic body lock defense, because it's typical. I've showed some videos on my channel before of different takedowns that a lot of wrestlers do. Generally, it starts with doubles, singles, and body locks off of the cage, and I would say I would say do cage work 3 days a week. If you get put on the ground, you're going to lose, that you're basically not going to be able to get up, and trying to submit someone off your back is not ideal unless you have an extensive jiu-jitsu background. And this kid is more of a striker, he was telling me. So I would say keep the kicks limited. I would say focus on boxing, and I would say do cage work like 3 days a week. When I was in the Ultimate Fighter with Dominic Cruz's team, it was a eye opener for me, right? Because there we did cage work 3 days a week. We did cage work 3 days a week, cage work and wrestling. We would only do jiu-jitsu 1 day a week. So cage work and wrestling 3 days a week, and jiu-jitsu 1 day a week. And it really helped. It really helped that me being a boxer and a striker, because I didn't know any of this cage work, and then I got around world-class coaching, and I learned how to defend against wrestlers, and obviously a little bit higher stakes and bigger scenario going to the Ultimate Fighter in the UFC. But even on your lower level, I would say focus 3 days a week on cage work, and don't think you need 100 moves. Learn 5 or 6 different cage work defenses: defending double, defending single, defending the body lock, and focus on them. And then I would say stick to boxing. Focus on defending, getting underhooks, being able to turn the person on the cage and disengage and get back to the center. And try to keep the fight in the center, obviously. Try to keep it in the center. It's unlikely, unless he's like super athletic or explosive, he's just going to be able to blast W in the middle of the ring. He's going to try to grab you and run you to the cage to get the takedown, most likely. So stick to your basics. Long, be long on the feet. Distance, hands. Hands. A lot of boxing, and then keep the kicks minimum, and make sure you set them up with your hands, because if wrestlers who can't catch your leg, pretty simple, catching someone's leg and taking them down, and that happens a lot when you're dealing with the lower level guys. You don't see it as much in the UFC, but at the lower level, people don't throw kicks the right way or with 100% power or anything like that, and they get them caught quite often in regional scene levels. So work cage work, drill cage work religiously, learn how to defend a double and a single on the cage, and a body lock on the cage. Focus on that, and make sure you're getting overhooks and being really strong with your overhook position, so they can't go to your back. That's how people get their back taken, is they try to defend these takedowns without getting an overhook, and then they end up getting their back taken, and someone put the hook in and take them down that way. So yeah, pretty simple game plan. Focus on cage work for I would say three days a week. Lots of it, lots of reps of the same moves. Don't focus on learning 20 different moves. Learn 5 or 6 moves and drill them religiously for the next 2 months, and keep the fight on the feet and work a lot of your boxing. And that's my advice if you're fighting a wrestler and you got that coming up. So hopefully that answers your question. If you have any other questions or any other subjects you'd like me to go over, just leave a comment below. If you're new to martial arts, looking for a gym in your area, get my book, The Ultimate Guide to Choosing Your Martial Arts School and Instructor. Link is in the description. Thank you guys.